Cadet Mira stood at the edge of the Galactic Academy's training ground, her eyes fixed on the horizon where the stars began to peek through the early morning sky. Today was a special day for her. It was her first solo mission. She had trained. For years, learned to read the stars, use advanced technology, and stay calm under pressure. But now, the real test was here. The Galactic Academy was the greatest school in the galaxy. It trained young people to protect the universe from threats and explore new worlds. Mira had joined the Academy with a dream, to make a difference, to show that humans could be strong and smart among many alien species. She was not the tallest or the strongest cadet, but her mind was sharp, and her spirit was strong. Her ship, a small scout vessel named the Falcon, waited on the landing pad. It was sleek and fast, built for quick missions and stealthy moves. Mira climbed inside and started the pre-flight checks. Everything looked good. "Cadet Mira," came the calm voice of Commander Tolan through her communicator. "Your mission is simple. Land on the planet Varin. Survey the area for any signs of danger or unusual activity, and report back. The planet is on the edge of our known space, and we have received strange signals coming from there." Mira nodded, even though the commander could not see her. "Understood, Commander. I will proceed as ordered. Remember, this is a scouting mission. No contact with unknown life forms unless it is necessary. Your safety is the top priority. Return immediately if you feel in danger." Mira took a deep breath and felt her heart beat faster. She switched on the engines. The Falcon lifted smoothly into the air, leaving the Academy behind. As she flew toward Varin, the stars outside grew brighter. The planet appeared below, a mix of green forests and tall, rocky mountains. Landing on Varin was smooth. The Falcon settled in a small clearing near a dense forest. Mira stepped out, feeling the fresh air on her face. The planet was quiet, almost too quiet. She switched on her scanner and began moving slowly into the forest. The scanner beeped softly as she walked, showing no immediate danger. Birds sang high in the trees, and the wind rustled the leaves. Mira's mind stayed alert. She knew this was not just a simple mission. Suddenly, the communicator beeped. "Mira, this is Commander. There is an emergency at the Academy. All units must return immediately. Abort your mission and come back." Mira frowned. "Copy that, Commander. Returning now." She turned to leave, but froze as 6 figures appeared ahead between the trees. They were tall and thin with gray skin and sharp eyes. Mira knew them from training. The Vark. They were a dangerous alien species, known for their hunting skills and quick attacks. The Vark did not say a word. They surrounded her slowly, moving with silence and purpose. Mira's heart pounded. She was outnumbered 6-1. Her weapon was small, a last resort tool, not meant for a fight against so many enemies. She remembered her training. Use your mind first. Fight only if you must. Mira looked around quickly. The forest was thick, but there were paths and rocks she could use. She needed a plan. One of the Vark moved closer, eyes fixed on her. Mira held her breath. Then, she picked up a small stone and threw it hard to the left. The stone hit a tree, making a loud noise. The Vark all turned toward the sound. Without waiting, Mira dashed to the right, moving fast through the trees. Her boots hit the ground with speed and skill. The Vark shouted and ran after her, but she knew the forest better. She twisted and turned, using roots and rocks to slow her enemies. Mira's breath was heavy, but her mind stayed clear. She knew she had to keep moving. After running for minutes, she saw a narrow cave hidden behind thick bushes. She slid inside just as the Vark reached the path. They growled in frustration but did not follow. Inside the cave, Mira sat down, trying to calm her breathing. Her heart was still racing. She took out her communicator and called for help. "This is Cadet Mira. I am outnumbered and trapped on Varen. Request immediate backup." The communicator was silent. No answer. Mira knew help might take time. She could not stay in the cave forever. Using her scanner, she found a river nearby. If she could reach it, she might use the water to hide or escape. She waited for a while. Outside, she heard the Vark moving, but they seemed less aggressive. Maybe they thought she was gone. Carefully, Mira crawled out of the cave and moved toward the river. The forest was dark and quiet. She kept low, using every shadow to hide. When she reached the river, she slipped into the cold water. The current was strong but carried her away from the forest. The Vark could not follow her in the water. Mira floated for a while, thinking. She was alone on a strange planet, outnumbered and in danger. But she felt no fear. She had trained for this. She believed in her skills and her mind. She whispered to herself, "I will not be hurt. I will walk away from this without a scratch." With new hope, Mira prepared to face the challenges ahead. She knew the galaxy was full of dangers, but humans could survive. They were clever, strong, and never gave up. The river's cold water pushed gently against Mira's legs as she floated downstream. Her mind was alert, watching the thick forest lining both sides of the river. She knew the Vark were still nearby, searching for her. But the water was her shield for now. Mira's thoughts raced. She remembered the training lessons. Never panic, always look for an advantage and use your environment. The forest was dense and dangerous, but it also offered tools and hiding places. She needed a plan to escape the Vark and finish her mission. After floating for some time, Mira found a small island in the middle of the river. She climbed onto it and sat on a smooth rock to rest. Her breathing slowed, and she thought about her next move. The communicator still showed no signal from the academy. She was alone out here, but she was not afraid. She had to be brave. Suddenly, a faint sound came from the trees. Mira stood up, listening carefully. It was not the growls of the Vark. It was something else. Soft footsteps and whispers. She hid behind a thick bush and watched. Two figures emerged from the forest. They were not like the Vark. These were smaller, covered in strange armor, and carried equipment that looked advanced. Mira's heart jumped. Could they be allies, or were they enemies? She stepped out slowly, raising her hands to show she meant no harm. "Hello," she said clearly. "I'm Cadet Mira from the Galactic Academy. I need help." The figures stopped and looked at her. One of them spoke in a language she did not understand. The other looked at her carefully, then reached out to touch a small device on her uniform. It made a soft beep. After a moment, the second figure spoke in broken galactic basic, the common language. "You from Academy?" "Yes," Mira replied. "I am alone, surrounded by Vark. I need backup." The two figures exchanged quick words. Then the one who spoke said, "We help, follow." Mira hesitated but saw no other choice. She nodded and followed them through the thick forest. They moved quickly but silently, leading her away from the river and deeper into the woods. As they walked, Mira tried to learn more about her guides. They called themselves the Arrows, a small group living hidden on Varen. They had been watching the Vark for months. The Vark were hunting them too. Mira felt a spark of hope. Maybe together they could fight the Vark or at least survive. Suddenly, the quiet forest broke with a loud noise. The Vark were coming. Mira's new friends stopped and pointed to a clearing up ahead. The Vark appeared first, their 6 sharp eyes scanning the forest. But Mira's group was ready. The Arrows had hidden traps, thin wires that snapped like nets and small devices that sent bright lights to blind the Vark. The first trap caught one Vark off guard, wrapping it in a net. The bright lights confused another. Mira took her chance to move closer. With the help of the Arrows, Mira fought smart. She used quick moves, dodging and distracting the Vark while her new friends attacked with their strange weapons. The Vark growled and shouted, but were not prepared for this teamwork. After a tense battle, the Vark retreated. They disappeared back into the forest, snarling and angry. Mira felt her heart slow. She had survived her first real fight. But she knew the danger was not over. Her new friends smiled and nodded. "You strong. We respect." Mira smiled back. "Thank you. Together we can stop the Vark." For the first time since the mission began, Mira felt hope and strength. She was not just a lone cadet anymore. She was part of something bigger, a team ready to face the galaxy's challenges. As night fell, Mira and the Arrows set up a small camp. The stars above shone brightly, reminding her of the vast universe waiting to be explored and protected. Mira looked up and whispered, "This is just the beginning." The night air was cool and quiet as Cadet Mira sat by the small campfire with the 2 Arrows guides. The fire's soft glow lit their faces, showing a mix of weariness and determination. Mira looked around at the forest, listening to the distant sounds of animals and the rustle of leaves. She felt a new sense of purpose. Together, they could face the danger that the Vark brought to this planet. The Arrows had lived in the shadows of Varen for a long time. They knew the forest better than anyone else, and had learned to survive by being clever and quick. Mira admired their skills and felt grateful for their help. One of the Arrows, a woman named Nara, spoke softly. "Vark are not only hunters. They want to take our home. They want power." Mira nodded. "We have to stop them. The Academy needs to know what is happening here." Nara looked at Mira with respect. "You are brave, Cadet, but the Vark are strong. They work in groups. You must be smarter," Mira agreed. "We will be smart. We will use the forest and traps. We will protect each other." The next morning, Mira and the Arrows began to prepare. They made new traps and studied the patterns of the Vark. Mira used her scanner to find where the Vark moved most often. The data showed a clear path between the mountains and the forest edge. As they worked, Mira thought about her mission. She was not just trying to survive anymore. She wanted to help the Arrows protect their home and send a warning to the Galactic Academy. But the Vark were clever too. One day, while Mira was checking a trap, she heard a low growl behind her. She turned quickly and saw 3 Vark warriors stepping out from behind the trees. Mira's heart raced, but she stayed calm. She raised her small weapon and moved to a better position. The Vark looked at her with cold eyes. They knew she was dangerous. Before the fight could start, Nara and the other Arrow appeared with a shout. They attacked the Vark with their advanced weapons and forced them to retreat. Mira's quick thinking and the Arrows' teamwork saved the day. After the fight, Mira checked herself for injuries. She had no scratches or bruises. The Vark had been strong, but she had been faster. That night, Mira thought about what she had learned. The Vark were not just enemies. They were a challenge that pushed her to be better. She smiled to herself. "I will walk away from this without a scratch," she whispered. Days passed, and Mira grew stronger and smarter. She learned the secrets of the forest and the ways of the Arrows. The bond between them grew. They shared stories and hopes for a peaceful future. But the danger was not over. The Vark were planning something bigger. Mira found new signals on her scanner, stronger and closer to the academy. The real threat was coming. Mira knew she had to warn the academy. She said goodbye to the Arrows and prepared to leave. As she stepped into the clearing, she looked back once more at the forest and her new friends. "We will meet again," she promised. With a deep breath, Mira started her journey home. She was tired, but determined. She was not alone. She carried the strength of the Arrows and the hope of the Galactic Academy with her. The stars above shone bright as Mira flew toward the future, ready for whatever came next. The Falcon's engines hummed softly as Cadet Mira flew away from the planet Varen. She held the controls firmly, her eyes focused on the glowing stars ahead. The journey back to the Galactic Academy was longer than she expected, but every moment was important. She carried with her the knowledge of the Vark threat and the courage she had found on that strange world. Mira thought about the Arrows, her new friends. They had helped her survive when she was outnumbered and alone. Their bravery inspired her. She wished she could bring them with her, but she knew the galaxy was full of dangers and they needed to stay hidden for now. Suddenly, her communicator beeped. Commander Tolan's voice came through, calm but urgent. "Mira, do you copy? Report. Your status." Mira took a deep breath. "Commander, I'm safe and returning. I found evidence of the Vark activity on Varen and made contact with a local group called the Arrows. They are being hunted by the Vark, and the threat is bigger than we thought." There was a pause. "Understood, Cadet. We're preparing. Reinforcements. Return as soon as possible." Mira nodded even though no one could see her. "I will. Over and out." As she flew, Mira reviewed the data she had collected. The Vark were not just simple hunters. They were planning to expand their territory. If they succeeded, many planets would be in danger. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden warning beep from the ship's sensors. The Falcon shook slightly. Mira's eyes widened. What was that? The scanner showed a small fleet of unknown ships approaching fast. They were Vark warships, coming to finish what they started. Mira's heart pounded. She was outnumbered again, this time by ships in space. But she did not panic. She remembered the lessons of Varen. Stay calm, think fast, and use the environment. She quickly activated the Falcon's stealth mode. The ship's surface shimmered, making it almost invisible to enemy sensors. Mira adjusted her course, weaving through asteroids and space debris to hide. The Vark ships scanned the area, their sensors sharp and relentless. Mira held her breath, waiting for the right moment. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed from behind an asteroid. Mira took it as a chance. She pushed the engines to full power and sped away in the opposite direction. The Vark chased her, but the Falcon was faster and more agile. Mira's hands moved quickly over the controls. She sent a message to the Academy. "Vark fleet in pursuit. Request immediate assistance." The reply came almost instantly. "Back up, en route." "Hold your position." Mira did not want to hold. She wanted to lose the Vark in the asteroid field. She flew close to a large rock, then suddenly changed direction, making the enemy ships slow down to avoid collision. One by one, the Vark ships lost track of her. Mira smiled. She was not just running. She was winning. After several tense minutes, the reinforcements arrived. Academy ships appeared, shining bright and strong. The Vark fleet turned to face the new threat. A fierce battle began. Lasers crossed. The dark space, explosions lit the stars, and the Falcon stayed safe in the middle. Mira watched as the Academy ships fought hard, pushing the Vark back. When the fight ended, the Vark retreated. Mira breathed a sigh of relief. She had survived another impossible situation. As the stars returned to their quiet shimmer, Mira set course for the Academy. She was tired, but proud. She had completed her mission, found new allies, and escaped danger more than once. Her communicator buzzed again. Commander Tolan's voice was calm, but full of respect. "Welcome home, Cadet. Your bravery and skill saved many lives today. The Academy is proud." Mira smiled, looking out at the stars. "Thank you, Commander. I will be ready for what comes next." The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but Mira knew one thing for sure. Humans could face anything with courage, mind, and heart. She was ready. Cadet Mira stood in the briefing room of the Galactic Academy. The room was filled with officers, commanders, and other cadets. Her mission report was being presented to everyone. Mira's heart beat steady. She was no longer just a trainee. She was a symbol of hope. Commander Tolan pointed to the map of Varen projected on the wall. "Cadet Mira's mission has shown us that the Vark are more organized and dangerous than we thought. They are expanding their territory and threatening the Aros people, who could be valuable allies." The room was silent. Everyone understood the seriousness of the situation. Mira spoke clearly. "The Vark's strength is in their numbers and coordination, but they lack the cleverness and courage that humans and Aros have. If we work together, we can stop them." The officers nodded, impressed by her confidence and clear thinking. After the briefing, Mira was approached by Captain Leon, a senior officer known for her experience in space combat. "Cadet, you've done well. We want you to lead a special team to Varen. Your knowledge and connection with the Aros will be key to our success." Mira was surprised but proud. "I accept the mission, Captain. I won't let you down." Next days were busy. Mira trained harder than ever, learning new tactics and leadership skills. She worked with the special team, a mix of skilled pilots, engineers, and soldiers. They respected her courage and ideas. When the day came to leave, Mira felt ready. The Falcon was upgraded with new weapons and shields. The team boarded their ships, and the fleet headed toward Varen. As they approached the planet, Mira's scanner detected unusual activity. The Vark were building new bases near the mountains. They were preparing for a big attack. Mira's heart raced. The Aros needed help, and the Academy forces had to act fast. The fleet landed near the Aros' hidden village. Mira was welcomed warmly by Nara and the others. They had been waiting, hoping for the Academy's support. Together, they planned their defense. Mira studied the terrain and worked with the engineers to set traps and build fortifications. The Arrows shared their knowledge of the forest, teaching the team how to move quietly and use the environment. One evening, while Mira checked the defenses, she noticed something strange. A small group of Vark scouts were moving close to the village. Mira quickly alerted the team. They prepared an ambush. Using the forest shadows and the traps, they caught the scouts by surprise. The Vark were confused and forced to retreat. Mira's plan worked perfectly. The victory was small but important. It gave the team confidence and showed the Vark that the Arrows and the Academy were united. Mira stood on a hill overlooking the village. The stars were bright, and the night was calm. She knew the battle ahead would be hard, but she also knew she was not alone. Her voice was soft but strong. "We will protect Varen. We will protect the Arrows, and we will stop the Vark." The future was uncertain, but Mira's spirit was unbreakable. The morning sun cast long shadows across the dense forest of Varen as Cadet Mira stood at the edge of the Arrows village, watching the team prepare for the coming battle. The air was thick with tension and hope. Months of training, planning, and small victories had led to this moment. Mira's special team moved quietly through the forest, guided by the Arrows warriors. They were ready for anything. The Vark had grown bolder, sending more scouts and patrols near the village. The Academy fleet had arrived with more ships, but the real fight would happen on the ground, as they moved closer to the mountain base. Where the Vark were building their stronghold, Mira could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. She was no longer a cadet running from danger. She was a leader, trusted to protect her team and the Arrows people. The forest was alive with sounds, birds calling, leaves rustling, and the distant hum of the Vark's machinery. Mira signaled the team to stop. She pointed to a narrow path leading up the mountain. "This is our route," she whispered. "Stay low and follow the Arrows. Watch for traps." The team moved carefully, every step measured. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed through the trees. Mira dropped to the ground. The team followed. From behind the rocks, Vark scouts appeared, their eyes glowing in the shade. The fight started without warning. Mira's training took over. She fired her weapon with precision, taking down one Vark before ducking behind a tree. Her team covered her, pushing the enemy back slowly. The Arrows warriors moved swiftly, using their knowledge of the forest to flank the Vark. The battle was fierce but quick. Within minutes, the scouts were defeated, leaving the path clear. Mira breathed heavily but stayed focused. "We keep moving. The base is close." The team climbed higher, the air growing thinner and colder. As they reached the edge of the Vark base, they saw large walls made of dark metal guarded by sentries. Mira studied the guards' movements. She knew a direct attack would be too risky. "We need a better plan." She gathered her team and the Arrows for a quick meeting. "We will split into two groups," she said. "One group will create a distraction at the front gate. The other will find a way inside through the caves below the base." Nara nodded. "I will lead the cave group. Mira, you lead the front attack." The night fell, and the team prepared. Mira's group moved to the front of the base, ready to make noise and draw attention. Suddenly, blaring alarms echoed from inside the base. As Nara's group sneaked through the caves, disabling security systems and opening gates from within. The Vark guards were confused and panicked. Mira's team used the moment to rush forward, fighting fiercely but carefully. Inside the base, Mira moved quickly through narrow hallways, avoiding traps and searching for the source of the strange signals she had detected earlier. She found a room filled with advanced machines and glowing screens. The Vark were working on a device that could send strong signals across the galaxy, signals that could call for more enemies. Mira knew she had to destroy it. With careful hands, she placed explosives around the machines, then signaled the team to retreat. As they ran through the base, alarms sounded louder. Vark soldiers chased them, but Mira's team fought back with courage and skill. Outside, the base began to shake. Explosions lit the night sky as the machines were destroyed. The Vark retreated again, defeated, but not broken. Mira looked at the stars, her heart full of hope and pride. She had led her team through danger and won. But she knew the fight was not over. The galaxy was big, and threats like the Vark would always appear. She smiled softly. "We will be ready." The Galactic Academy was filled with light and noise as Cadet Mira returned home. This time, she was not just a student coming back from training. She was a hero who had faced danger and come through without a scratch. Her story was known throughout the Academy. Mira walked through the halls with quiet confidence. Other cadets stopped to look at her with respect and admiration. Some whispered her name, sharing the story of how she survived against 6 Vark warriors alone and helped stop a much larger threat. In the main hall, Commander Tolan waited for her. He smiled warmly. "Welcome back, Cadet. You have done well beyond what we expected." Mira bowed her head slightly. "Thank you, Commander. I could not have done it without the arrows and my team." The commander nodded. "Your courage and smart thinking remind us all why humans are strong, not just in body but in mind and spirit." That day, Mira was honored in a special ceremony. She received a medal for bravery and leadership. The medal shone bright, just like the stars she loved to watch. As she stood before the crowd, Mira spoke. "This medal is not just for me. It is for everyone who fights to protect peace in the galaxy. For the arrows, who showed me the meaning of courage. And for all who believe that even when outnumbered, we can stand strong." Her words inspired many. The Academy officers decided to work more closely with the arrows. Together, they would build a better future, one where all people and species could live safely. But Mira knew this was only the start. The galaxy was big and full of mysteries. There would always be challenges ahead. One night, Mira stood on the balcony of her quarters looking out at the stars. The sky was clear, and the stars sparkled like tiny diamonds. She felt a deep calm inside her. She thought about the first time she was outnumbered 6-1 on Varen. Back then she was scared but determined. Now she was stronger and ready for whatever came next. A soft voice in her mind whispered, "No matter how many enemies come, I will walk away without a scratch." Mira smiled. She was not just a cadet anymore. She was a symbol of hope, courage, and the human spirit. And her journey was just beginning.